We're going live. Hello, everyone. Yeah. We are live. We're always a bit surprised when we're live. We've just been checking out microphones, and we should show you, actually. Debbie, show us your exciting one, and Lea, let's see yours. And we're talking about how can we make them a bit cooler. Is it Amazon? Did you say Amazon?
Yeah, so you could, well, I mean, it's literally just a template. So I think what I would do if I wanted to make my own is I would just buy one of the original ones, use it as a template, and then you can make lots of different ones, couldn't you?
You could get your own kind of interesting wallpapers or fabrics and stuff, couldn't you, and put it round?
I might start
Yeah, this is an Etsy business for someone, isn't it? Like,
yeah. I was going to say, I can see a business coming out of this. So before we start, because today we're going to be talking about content marketing, which is, I think we all love content marketing, don't we? So it's super exciting. Let's do a quick introduction. We've got Lea here today joining us today, which is amazing. Let's go around in circle. Debbie, starting with you.
So I'm Debbie, Digital Woman of the Year. Wow. That's what I'm going to say. Just drop the mic. Over to you, Lea.
My name's Lea Turner, and I train people how to use LinkedIn to generate inbound leads through content marketing and social selling.
Perfect.
Fabulous. Well, I'm Laura Perkes. I'm a publicist, and we work with disruptive and progressive brands and entrepreneurs who want to go beyond social media and become the go-to authority in their industry.
You've added in the progressive, I see, haven't you? Progressive. It was disruptive, and now it's disruptive and progressive.
Can I just say that next time, can I go before Laura does, so that I don't have to kind of So hi, I'm Yolanda. I'm the founder of Pink Leaf Social. We're a social media company that specializes in working with purpose-driven business owners to help them share their story authentically and uniquely online. That's what I do.
Amazing. And I'm Emmie Faust. I am a growth strategist helping seed-funded founders with a plan for growth. And Debbie and I also run something called Emmie. I was going to say Emmie and Debbie. It's actually called Debbie and Emmie, but it doesn't matter because we're both part of something that we do, supporting coaches and consultants. So let's talk about content marketing today, which is obviously a super important part of marketing. And I suppose my first thought is, does anyone want to briefly explain what content marketing is? Lea, do you want to do that? Or do you want Debbie? Or are we just throwing you in at the deep end? Debbie,
no, that's fine. It's simply creating content that makes people want to work with you. Essentially, that's it in a nutshell. And there are so many different ways of doing it, depending on what you're trying to attract. But it's essentially demonstrating the benefits of working with you, what the experience is like, what you do, but without being super salesy about it. I guess that's always my way of doing it. Is I sell the experience, I sell the outcome, but I don't sell. Like selling between the lines.
Sell the experience and the outcome, but don't sell. And Debbie, what does content marketing mean to you?
Yeah, I think Lea put it really well. And I think it's like Lea said, it's not about like selling. And I think sometimes when people come to marketing, they feel like it's selling their soul. When you're creating content marketing, you're just storytelling, aren't you? Like you said, you're like, this is the transformation. This is when I work with this person. This is my expertise. This is me adding value. This is me telling stories and sharing, what the experience of working with me is. And that's so much more exciting than just going, buy my stuff. So it enables people to get into the nitty gritty. What did you say, Lea?
The why as well, I think, is really important. Why you do what you do, why you love it, why you're good at it, why your qualities add value to this particular skill. Like for me, that's the biggest one, because I talk quite openly about doing it because I have a little boy and wanting to change our life, and because I want to help build business owners to, teach a man to fish. He can feed him. If you teach a man to fish, he can feed himself for life, right? So I'm teaching my business owners to fish so that they can provide for themselves, for their family, for whatever it is. And those are my whys. And I think when you've got the passion behind it and context as to what drives you, connects with other people and makes them want to work with you more. I think that's really important to add in, is having that why in the content marketing strategy.
Yeah. I was going to say, how does that work? Because I think, and I totally agree, Lea, when you're buying from like a person, that really works. And I'm wondering, like, how does that come over to like a bigger brand? Because then I think that's where it's less personal, isn't it? The content then is not.
Yeah, absolutely. But they all started somewhere. So, for example, if it's somebody who's working in the customer service angle, if they're talking about how they are really fulfilled by working one-on-one with customers and seeing those amazing outcomes, that's why. If they're working extra hours and going towards that promotion, it's because they want to earn more, because they want to buy the next house. That drive and that passion is what human beings connect with and urges us to go, we could Google a service that does what you do, but if we connect with you and your why, we want to work with you rather than just a faceless enterprise that we could find on Google. I think individually, as a company, the companies all started somewhere. Those values all initiated somewhere. Someone had the idea for that business and that they had a why behind that. Whether it was the pain point that their ideal client was going through that they wanted to solve, or it's something personal, it always starts with a why. And if you lose sight of that, you're losing an opportunity to connect with the people that you serve.
Yeah, I was just thinking about, like, I'm a big fan of John Lewis because I love their why, that all the people who work for them are not called employees, they're called partners, that they work really hard to make sure that their supply chain isn't kind of, I don't know, killing too many people or raping the planet in a terrible way, and that they really put lots of money back into kind of community projects and funded things that their people who work for them want to get involved in. And that makes me want to shop in John Lewis. And we've mentioned Amazon, and I try my best not to shop in Amazon because I don't like their why, which feels like we want to take over the world and crush everybody else on the way, just like a big machine, like that film WALL-E that kids watch. So I think that even big brands focus on that, and that's what makes me love brands or dislike them, and that's what makes me loyal to brands, isn't it? That thing behind the why. So it's important.
And I think like, this is why for me, I've changed careers quite a few times, and you know, I always liken it to the storytelling factor that you were saying, Lea. When I was working as a journalist, the way that you would be able to connect with the people who are reading that story is by humanizing that story. And, you know, you'd find politicians doing the same thing. It's annoying sometimes, but when they quote, "Oh, I just spoke to this person in my constituency," and you kind of, now you know it's part of the ploy, but it's a tactic that's used to try and make sure that people feel and see themselves in what they are reading and watching and listening to. And I've been able to stick to working with purpose-driven companies because I feel the passion. You know, when you meet those owners, you hear about the sweat and tears and they've put into creating their businesses and their brands, and they're very, very committed to giving back to the community, and that completely aligns to my values. And so when you're sharing those stories, especially in the climate that we're in today, you know, a lot of younger people are buying from brands based on their brand values, not necessarily on the product price or those sort of things. So, you know, when you're thinking about things like authenticity, when it comes to content marketing and diversity, inclusion, all of those things are key topics that are hot on the agenda right now. And the brands that you mentioned, like John Lewis, you know, they get it. They understand who their audience is, and that's what their winning selling point is.
You trust them, don't you?
Exactly.
When you think of John Lewis, and I mean, if there's any Americans or people overseas that might not quite connect with that John Lewis is part of British culture quite strongly, I always say to my clients, the Christmas advert on John Lewis, they sell nothing. There is not a single product in that advert. They sell us the feeling of going into John Lewis at Christmas, that warm, nostalgic feeling, and they're never selling a product. And we pay more for a product from John Lewis because we trust it to be quality. And that's the power of building that brand and really extorting your why, is that we will pay more. If I always use the example to my clients is, if we could do our weekly grocery shop at the local shop where John and Wendy and their kids, we know them and we chat to them and we buy our milk at the weekend there. If we could do our entire weekly or monthly shop there, and it was easily as convenient and they had all the products, we would. And we would probably spend a little bit more than we spend at Sainsbury's because we want to support them and we know that it's helping their kids to get put through school or taking them on holiday, and we have that connection with them. But we only spend it at the big superstores because of convenience. The same with Amazon. If we could buy from every local store as easily and have it in our, you know, prime delivery on it, we would. And we would pay an extra 50p or £1 for something to support a local business. We are only paying less and getting it quickly because it's so convenient. So it's those people's whys and seeing the benefit to that person with our own eyes of spending our money with them that connect so powerfully with us. So yeah, I think the bigger your brand, you never should lose sight of why you started and who you wanted to help in the first place. If you do, that's when I think things really start going wrong. Like Brewdog are a prime example of that recently.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, isn't it? It's like, I think you're so right. There are brands that I followed that have become big, but you sort of know, you know, you probably even know the founder's name and you know so much about them. And then there's other brands and it's just a bit faceless, and you go to the about page and it's just sort of talks about the business, and you actually can't get down into, you know, who is it? Who is this about? Why was it
Gymshark recently. So Ben France is going back in as CEO, and he stepped down 6 years ago and said, do you know what? I'm not the person right now. I need to learn more. And now he's come back. And people love Gymshark. People pay a lot of money for Gymshark because they're so invested in the brand's journey and how they take care of their staff. And then you see Brewdog, who had that, and then it's all come out, all of this, and people are like, no, you've totally screwed us over. We believed in you, we trusted you, and now we feel betrayed, because they're so invested in their story. And that's really, like, the brands of the future, the brands that are doing so well right now, people are on that journey with them. And it inspires us and motivates us.
And I think as well, from a content marketing perspective, there has to be a purpose. And I don't see it as much now, probably because my peers around me have kind of developed and grown over the years. But at one point, there was a real kind of spray and pray. It was almost, we need to be visible every day, and just slapping content up that was irrelevant, or it was, you know, lazy. And it was almost, what are you actually delivering to your audience? What's making your audience really want to buy from you right now? Because if you're recycling the same quote that I've seen on 5 other social media channels, like, I'm lost, I'm switching off, and then I'm probably actually going to lose some of the faith and some of the love I have for that brand or that particular entrepreneur. And I love that your dog is getting.
I was going to say, we have.
He's like my leg to come up.
Liam's bringing all the shine today, a shiny mic and an awesome dog.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. He's just a needy little thing, and he was going to start yapping if I didn't pick him up, because he gets extra needy. He's only a baby. Yeah, I completely agree. I think, you know, it's spot on, and I think there are some brands that are doing it amazingly well at the moment, and there are some brands that obviously are not doing it so well. But the content, I think quality over quantity, and you have to be consistent with your content, especially on LinkedIn. You have to have that consistency and be regularly visible. But if you're creating crap content, you're essentially disrespecting your audience, and I think that really comes through. If you're just turfing out viral guff constantly and going, oh, I just want those vanity metrics, I want 10,000 likes on a viral post, that does nothing for your brand at all. Like, I find that I personally feel disrespected when someone just churns out that. I'm like, why do you think I'm going to enjoy this? I don't enjoy this. I want to know about you. I want to know about what's going on in your life. I want to know your thoughts. At least add some context as to why you're sharing this rubbish. And I think that's it. You need to be showing respect to seeing your content by making the effort to make it good. If you've got nothing worthwhile saying, say nothing.
Yeah.
Or go
It's that
people's post until you're inspired to write something.
It's that so what action, isn't it? When you're reading something and you finish and you go, so what? That's the worst feeling in the world. And you spent a few minutes reading a caption or going through a video and you still left with absolutely nothing. So you need to give people something to take away, you know, some sort of call to action. It doesn't have to be selling, as we were saying, but something that makes them feel like they want to comment, they want to share, they want to get involved in what you're doing.
And they want to come back.
And they want to come back. Exactly.
Yeah,
isn't it? Well, you want to make people feel something, because people buy because of an emotional connection. So if you can tap into that, if you can make them feel emotionally connected to you, if you can give them something that feel inspired, or they laugh at, or they go off and change the way that they're doing something, or you kind of sharing a piece of learning, you're kind of adding value all the way along. And I think maybe there's like a reflection, like, is there emotional intent in this? Am I teaching somebody something? Like, what am I trying to do with this?
What are they taking? What are they getting from it?
It's like a gateway for them. you should always be questioning, like, what are they going to get from this? Is it worthwhile putting it out? And I work with people a lot of the time, and they'll be like, oh, I work with this person. They said I have to post 3 times a day on this platform. And they're just posting because somebody told them to, but they don't really have anything. Who has 3 inspiring, amazing, value-filled things to say every day? I mean, if you do, that's great. But my brain is quite overwhelmed a lot of the time with the work that I'm doing. So I love your quantity over quality. Like, that's totally, I think,
especially on LinkedIn. I don't know about other platforms because obviously I'm not an expert on other platforms. But when it comes to LinkedIn, actually, the more you post, if you're not posting valuable stuff, the quicker you're going to drop off the newsfeed.
Yeah.
Because if people scroll past your content 3 times in one day, and they're doing that every day and not interested in your content, you drop off their newsfeed. So actually, if they need your service in a month's time or 2 months' time, they've forgotten you exist. So you are better to create visibility by contributing to other people's posts, leaving comments that demonstrate your expertise, sharing your advice, sharing your knowledge, than you are to constantly try and create your own new content, because you can be seen deliberately by new people in new places when you're leaving comments, and your network see the comments that you left as well. So you're actually creating a better opportunity to be more visible for your brand. And when you've got your profile and your headline all lined up as well, you're having what you do being seen in new places every time you leave a comment, and that's attracting people to your profile. So for LinkedIn, it's definitely, I say personally, 3 to 6 times a week posting, and really you don't need more than that. Invest the extra time you save on commenting in other places. And I think another really important thing to mention that I make sure that I do is, when you are creating content, especially video content and text content, don't waffle. Get to the point. We're busy. And actually, you know, if I see a video that's 4 minutes of somebody waffling, I'm not even going to hit play. I'm just not, because I don't, unless I really, really respect that person and I know that they've got tons of really good content, I will not give them 4 minutes of my day. And that's the same for most people. I might give them 30 seconds or a minute. And is there really anything that you can't get across in a minute? If there isn't, it's probably too complicated. Make 3 videos and do it in 3 stages. Teach 1 step at a time. Because my TikTok videos, I do 30-second videos, 5-6 sentences, really simple, actionable tips. Someone takes away, and I did one yesterday, 30-second video, and it made me $2,500 in bookings. 30 seconds, 5 minutes to make. Like, creating valuable content that takes the very minimum from someone but provides the maximum value, shows how much you respect them, how much you really want to help them, and how much you're an expert that you can succinctly explain it.
Yeah, and it is
what people,
the popularity in short form video is definitely something that people are appealing to more and more now on all the platforms. Really, Facebook is also launching a version of Reels and TikToks. So I think, you know, and YouTube as well, there's going to be YouTube Shorts. So there's a whole heap of platforms that are moving towards 30 seconds or 60 seconds in TikTok's case, where you could be able to talk about your value and what it is that you are adding, because people don't have time. If you don't hook them in those first few minutes, they're just going to keep swiping, isn't it? That's the nature of what we're doing. So you have to think about how do you make sure that you keep people paying attention to what you're saying for longer. And I know that that's how most of the algorithms work, is like how they're judging to see or checking to see how well people are engaging with your content that you're putting online. So think about how you can add value, and also how much you can entertain. I know that's not always people's comfortable space, but that's the direction that people are moving in now. So you don't have to be dancing and doing that pointing thing, which I find quite irritating. But
Well, why is that?
I hate the pointing. No offense to anybody who's watching, but you know, please don't point anymore.
I need to get on TikTok, don't we, Debbie? We need to get on TikTok.
Yeah, I think hearing that.
It's the subconscious thing, though, isn't it? Right? If you entertain somebody, they feel good, and they relax when they feel good, which creates a trust bond. We are more likely to trust people when they entertain us, or if they're self-deprecating and embarrass themselves. It makes us connect with them more because we feel more comfortable around them. And so if you can do something that makes people feel good and laugh, and I do it with my little TikTok videos, like I'll do one, this is how you find your ideal client, blah, 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 and slide something in about Tom Hardy, or make a little joke, or have my dog in it, or something like that. It creates that, fly in my face, creates that like good feeling. And then people remember it better and remember me with the good feeling that I gave them and the fact that I shared something useful. And they're creating that connection in their head with my brand. So the next time they see my name or my rainbow on the feed, they're stopping because they know in their back of their mind, the last time they did that, they felt good. And that's a really powerful thing that people do not realize on LinkedIn. And when they're just posting, oh, this is what my business did this week, everyone's like, don't care. Why should I care? Make me care about you. How are you celebrating? Who are you proud of? What are the amazing results that your team have seen as a result of this, or the client has seen? Tell me how what the emotional reaction was, the emotional result. That what I will connect with. Use adjectives that make me feel what you're feeling.
So we're going for the dopamine hit then. That's like we're hitting the big time, like make people like their brains firing off. And we're like, I've done a good job here. People are happy, they're smiling, they're having a good time. It's great, that association with your brand. And I've looked at your stuff. I've not found you on Instagram, but I've looked at your stuff on Instagram, Lea, and there's so much value there, and it's really colorful, and you're like, oh, you want to spend loads of time and keep looking, and that's the key, isn't it? Is to keep people looking, engaging, going back through your back catalogue of stuff. You're like, yes, done a good job then.
Yeah, my Instagram's brand new because I only started it 2 weeks ago because I had another one and I got rid of a 12,000 follower one and started fresh with a brand new LinkedIn focused one. So growing it with intention now, doing all the right things on Instagram because I wasn't before.
So why did you get rid of the 12,000 follower one?
Because I had it for 10 years. So it's been with me through party girl to new motherhood to new business owner to completely changing my business during COVID. So all of the followers that I got were so confused. There was loads of them from my past lives. So I was like, do you know what? There's a lot of stuff on there. There's pictures of me pregnant. There's pictures of me in my wild party days. I don't really want all of that on display to all of these new people in my new world of more corporate. And so I was like, I'll get rid of it, shut it down and start again building engagement from people who are genuinely interested in the journey that I'm on with LinkedIn and how I can help them with LinkedIn. And it's been great because I'm up to nearly 2,000 followers in about 2.5-3 weeks. So I'm doing it the right way this time. So all good.
You understood your why, Lea.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to be an Instagram expert next. Go full service. Right, I'm going to have to nip off because this blog is dying to go out. But it was so lovely talking to you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Nice to meet you, Lea.
Yeah,
nice to meet you, Lea.
Thank you so much for popping in.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, cool. So that was amazing to have Lea, who is a superstar on LinkedIn, and actually I've done some training with her, and she's really, really good. And that's actually how I came about to meet her and invite her on today. So it sounds like we're saying content should educate, entertain, inspire, make people feel good, add value. I always remember as well, I did a blogging course about 12 years ago, and the lady, Holly Becker from Decorate, she always taught me, I don't know if she taught me, but it's what I learned from that course. It should be regular, relevant, and unique. And I think the unique thing is really good because, you know, Google doesn't want rehashed content. Yeah. Social media doesn't want rehashed content. It's fine to curate content and say, I've been reading X, Y, and Z, and this is my favorite selection, and this is what I think about it, and add, and add your spin on it. But essentially, people don't just want rehashed content. And interestingly, LinkedIn seem to penalize posts that are shared, which kind of gives you that idea that actually they don't want people to constantly be sharing other people's posts. They want to see that real unique content.
Yeah, I was just going to add one more thing just before we finish, because I know we don't have these for very long. As I was having a conversation with one of my clients actually about the customer journey and just thinking about your content and where people might be on that customer journey. I think when people think about marketing, they're looking for the sort of instant gratification, and you might not see the conversion as quickly when you're posting or marketing. So just be conscious that there will be people who look, and they might take a very long time before they make that decision to buy. And then there are others who are ready to just go straight away. So when you're thinking about your content, plan for all those different stages that people might be in as your potential customer, so that you're able to keep people engaged until the point, as Lea said, that they remember you, they're ready to come back and engage with your brand and your business. So yeah, that's the only thing that I just thought about it while she was talking. And
yeah, it's definitely a long game, isn't it? It's not a campaign that has a beginning and an end. It's something that you're committed to doing regularly and consistently, and probably will do for as long as you have a business. And I think knowing that it is that long game, and it's about developing relationships, really, isn't it, with people? Which is why then commenting on their stuff, getting them to comment on your stuff, like taking some of those conversations into direct messages so that you can really develop that one-to-one relationship with people. That's when you know it's working, isn't it? And so it is a long game. It's kind of like you're dating somebody and you're like, let's go on a first date. And then, oh, what drinks do you like? And you're kind of like, moving somebody along that chain. I see it as like a kind of dance that you're doing with people. So it is a long game. It's not like, let's just do a Facebook ads thing and that's going for a month and then boom, we're done. It's like forever, really, isn't it? If you're committed to it, it's like a weekly, almost daily task. But then that's kind of interesting because you can layer up, can't you, and keep creating new stuff and referring back to things that you created a couple of months ago and look at this old blog post or remember when I did this thing, and you're kind of just adding to what you've done all the time. I love content marketing because I love talking and writing. So it keeps me
You're very good at that. I think we haven't talked about things like case studies, which are part of content marketing, and reviews and testimonials and things like that. And those are super important as well on that customer journey, Yolanda, aren't they? To, you've got your awareness at the top, and then as the people are sort of coming down the funnel and getting closer to buying from you, they're going to want to see things like case studies and testimonials and LinkedIn recommendations and social proof and things like that. And that's all part of content marketing as well.
Yeah, sure.
It's a huge topic that, again, we're kind of trying to open the box and tackle it all in 20 minutes, and it's not possible. And I think as well, the important thing to remember with content marketing, and I'm actually starting to have a bit of beef these days with ideal clients, because not everyone you come across is your ideal client today. But actually, if they're interested in something that you are offering or something about your personality, that's when you get to nurture them over time to become your ideal client. So I think as well, marketing, and it's got a massive job to do. And I think that's why it's really important, again, to connect with people personally, to share your expertise, rather than just kind of spraying and praying and hoping that some of your content sticks. It's almost start them out, like show that you are really good at what you do. And over time, they will then learn to trust you, and then they'll fall in love with you. And one day they may buy from you. That may take 6 months, it may take 6 years, but it's worth the effort for just showing up every day and just adding value and being authentic.
I think if you're adding value without that, I don't know, expectation of someone becoming a client, it could be a friend that sees your content that then remembers to tell their friend who's looking for, for you, for a publicist or for a coach or social media help. It's really interesting, isn't it? Like, I know, like during the first pandemic, I was like, the only thing I can do, basically, I was like losing all my clients, and no one obviously was buying sort of services, was just show up, try and add value, and do that, 4 times a week or whatever it was. And it pays off, because then 5 or 6 months later, I was fully booked with clients, and a lot of those came from strategic partners or people that had seen me. So I think if you're doing it just with the idea of how can I bye Debbie, off you go. If you're creating content with the view of helping people and sharing what you know and sharing your insights and being of service, then that's all you can do. And then at some point it is going to pay off, because we know people need multiple touch points, don't they, before buying?
Yeah, exactly.
So interestingly, I love the fact that Lea was saying she did one video on TikTok yesterday and generated $2,500 worth of sales. So maybe, I don't know, those people could have been following her for a while, or it could have been the first time. But anyway, it goes to show content is super important. Any final thoughts on content, Yolanda or Laura, before we wrap up for today?
I'd say don't overthink it. I think, again, we can all get caught up in, it needs to look perfect, or I need to have brand imagery and brand colours. And really, at the end of the day, I don't think people care that much. Actually, they want you. They want your expertise. They want you to teach them something or entertain them. So I think sometimes we just have to kind of forget some of the things that we see and hear on social and just show up and share.
Yeah, I think it depends, doesn't it? I mean, I think if you're a big brand, then obviously you do want brand guidelines and you want to be, have that consistency. But if you're starting out creating content, it is the quality of the content, isn't it? If you're sharing great ideas, a great insight, that's the most valuable thing. What about you, Yolanda? I love your earrings today, by the way.
Thank you.
Those are
I'm trying to match
cool.
up with my orange.
Yeah, very cool. Did you have any thoughts about final thoughts on content before we say goodbye for Friday? I think we've lost Yolanda.
We have, yes. She's frozen in time.
It was the lovely earrings, and then we lost her. Anyway, Laura, Yolanda, ladies, thank you so much for turning up today. I think we've got another few sessions in us, haven't we? Oh, Yolanda, you're back. We were just saying goodbye. Oh, I don't know if Yolanda is back. I think we've got a lot more sessions in us for content, haven't we?
Yeah.
So stay tuned. Come and join us next week, every Friday, 9:30, Friday Marketing Show. Lots of cool ladies talking about marketing and other things. See you all soon. Bye.
Bye.